And here we are. We're going to try to hang out here while the tornadoes go down the alley, but hopefully they won't get any of us interrupted. We're going to talk about a little bit of the J6 and Summer of Love today. We got Rodney joining us. We got him out of the studio audience, got him in a chair today, and we're going to get started right after this.
Okay.
And we're back. Yes.
So
Carol.
while Will is sharing the link, so there's chatter about our show.
Really?
And no one is more surprised than myself.
I don't know. I'm pretty surprised by that.
So I was at court, and I ran into Gary Collins, who mentioned the show. And quickly followed by, I've never watched it. I'm like, so that's what I hear a lot of.
Yeah, I'm aware of it, but I've never watched it. Perfect.
And then Reagan Wright, who was the prosecutor at City Court, he was like, what are you doing? And so, I was telling him about it. And then my friend Lisa Sims, the Christian County Bar Association, she's actually listened to a couple shows.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
that was pretty exciting.
Well, shout out then to these folks that
thank you,
are at least aware that we have a show, which is pretty cool.
And she's invited me to the Christian Legal Society luncheon this Thursday.
Oh, is that this Thursday?
Yeah.
I've been invited that. I've not yet made it yet.
This Thursday?
I want to go.
At the Pitch in Springfield.
Okay.
On Sunshine.
My calendar's available. I will be there.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
So, so went to the CU board meeting about Lake Springfield.
Yes.
So following up on my activism, I think I'm just going to become an activist.
Are you now?
That's going to be my third job. So
you
I'll be
and
like
Greta Thunberg. Give me your best. How dare you? Come on, let's hear it, Carol. Give it to us.
How dare you?
There you go. There we go. Way to go.
I'm outraged by this conduct.
Well, that's better than what she was talking on behind the mic earlier.
Oh, good. Yeah. So how did that go?
It was good. So it's very interesting. So I arrived there, and this woman came over, and she was very nice. And she said, "I'm so and so. Who are you?" And she said, "So did you want to speak?"
Was it who are you, or was it who are you? Why are you here? You're not going to make trouble, are you?
There were lots of guests. I mean, there were lots of guests there.
You.
It wasn't just me, and so. And right away, she's like, "Did you want to speak?" And so I thought that was very friendly, very controlled, obviously. And then, of course, the Lake Springfield project plan is going to go to City Council vote next Monday at 6:30.
Did you speak?
I did not speak.
No. Okay.
I did not think it was necessary, and I was absolutely right. It was totally unnecessary.
It's fun to be right, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's like everybody say hey, everybody say I. I'm like, okay. So, but it's fun. It's been a fun week, been an active week. So that's my update from Carol Hutchison. And then you guys had, big Easter plans and days, I think.
Yeah. It's a work day for Rodney, like we talked about. Pastor Rodney over there. He's got.
It's every weekend is a work day. That's my day of work. But yeah, it was fun yesterday. We had a good service at the church. Like I was telling them, we had a sunrise service at the gazebo downtown in Rogersville. Had about 13 people show up at 7 a.m., but we sang a few songs a cappella, and so if people's alarms did not wake them up, it was some singing. I say some singing because I don't know what that sound was like, but anyway, we had a wonderful day, and so it was a great celebration.
Good.
We had a fun weekend. Our church is to the point where we can't really accommodate everybody on a Sunday morning. So for Easter, so we had 2 Saturday evening services and then 3 on Sunday. And so I'm part of the security team, and so I worked for.
Okay, wait. I'm part of the security team.
I'm part of the security team.
Church.
At church. Yeah.
So explain why a church would need a security team.
Because there's these crazy liberals that like to attack churches. basically, is what we have security for. That's a little bit true.
Okay.
What is absolutely true is, as you know, a church, like a school, we have custody of children. So
Very true.
we are
Yes.
concerned about
Yes.
the children, and we have the main issue, as you again know, with children is not necessarily that a stranger will abduct them, but that a non-custodial parent will show up at a school, at a church, at a daycare facility and say, that's my kid. Of course, the kid's like, yeah, that's my dad.
Hi, Dad.
Yeah.
Or hi, Mom.
Or Mom, right? We don't want to be
Right.
sexist or
Right.
anything.
Right.
And then, boom, you've got a problem. And so that is part of the security team. Of course, we control, crowd control, if there's a medical emergency, things like that. So
Well, and unfortunately, there have been shootings at churches
there
as
have.
well.
Yeah.
And some different things have happened, some different acts of violence. So, so way to bring it down right away, Carol. I'm sorry.
yeah, so
about
no,
that.
just stay frosty and it's all good. But no,
That's good, though.
I worked the 4:00 service. I was in the lobby, working the lobby, and then the 5:30 service. My family came, and I got to sit with them in service while I was on duty. And then we did not have to go to church on actual Sunday.
You did not get to go to church on Sunday.
Well, we didn't have to because we went the night before. Either way.
Got your church in early.
Yeah, we got our church in early, which was really nice. I got up relatively early, went to the store, got some eggs. I made bacon.
I saw
and
pictures.
Made breakfast for
It's
the family.
impressive.
And then, so all three of the boys, and then Jack, our youngest, his fiance was there. And we just kind of had a day with the family.
Nice.
Made a couple tri-tips, took them over to mom and dad's. We ate as a family. It was
Wow.
great. Yeah. Big day. Good
That
family
is
day.
nice.
We really enjoyed it. Yeah,
Well,
it was a lot of
good.
fun. A lot of fun. So we got a topic today, but we were going to just throw out some things that we have found amusing this week.
Okay.
Of course, we have our Joe Biden, who, recalled his trips over the Francis Scott Key Bridge on a train. Of course, there are no train tracks on the bridge, so that probably didn't happen. Do you want to talk about the other one? Because I brought both of these up. But
Okay,
do you
no,
want,
go-
do you,
go
do you want to
ahead.
call the other? The other one, the other asinine comment or the asinine thing that happened this week is Donald Trump endorsing a Bible. I don't need that. I'm like, come on, man.
I'm like, are there lots of,
It's just, I know that he's a little obtuse, but that's pretty, even to most of his base is like, come on, man.
all right.
We know that's not right.
I found that intriguing because it seems a little anti-Christian for someone to be endorsing the Bible. And we talk about false prophets and we talk about, different.
And frankly, it depends on how you do it. If he's like,
Sure.
hey, this is my favorite translation of the Bible, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
I think
This is
I
what I
just
have
think he
at
went
home.
way beyond that. There's tons of friends of mine that have the John MacArthur Study Bible. Now, that's a little different. John MacArthur is a legendary theologian. So it makes sense that you might have a
Sure.
John, because it's not like John MacArthur's
Version.
interpretation of the Bible. It's a standard version of the Bible that's
Mm-hmm.
widely recognized with his commentary. Mm-hmm. It's just all in one book, collection of books, right? So I get that, but I just thought it was weird, and I think everybody thought it was weird. I think most Christians thought it was pretty cringeworthy. Because most we don't judge whether somebody's a Christian or not.
Sure,
I don't.
right,
If
right.
somebody says you're a Christian, I'm not going to say I know that you are. I know that you're not. I can
Right.
look at some things that the Bible says are fruit that we know what Christians are and go. We could lean one way or the other based on that. And if I'm going to make an objective, go on a limb here, I'm going to say, Don, I have some concerns. If you're going to claim that,
Maybe a stretch.
If you're going to claim that, maybe we need to have a conversation about what that should mean. What do you think about that, Rodney? That's right in your wheelhouse.
Well,
yeah.
Toss it to Rodney here.
he
There you
tosses
go.
it to me, and I didn't even hear about this endorsement. So
Oh yeah.
fill me in a little bit on that.
I don't know that I can fill it in a lot more because I didn't really delve into it. In fact, I didn't know what it was. So the first thing I see about this is people posting on social media. A real Christian billionaire would be giving Bibles away, not selling them. And that's all I saw. And I'm like, I saw it about 5 times. I'm like, I don't know what this is about because I
Right.
had not seen them. And then finally, I saw something like, aha, now I get it. Or maybe not billionaire. I don't think he's a billionaire, but whatever it was. And I'm like, oh, I get it. Okay, so but I did not look far enough to know. Like, is he actually like, hey, go to TrumpForPrez.com and order your Trump Bible for 1995. I don't know if that's what's going on or if something less. But there is a clear something out there where he is endorsing
Okay.
I would be on
Bible
that side as
for
far as
sale.
if he's endorsing a specific version. Yes, but if I would,
I brought my iPad on the show for just such an occasion.
very good.
It's $59. It includes. It says,
you know this.
God bless America, or God
Okay.
bless the USA is like embedded.
Gotcha.
On the cover. It includes the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, see, that doesn't belong in there.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
think.
So all of that for the low price of $59 or
There you go.
$59.95. The money does not go to Trump. Or
Actually, I'm looking at a
his-
Washington Post article that says a cut of the sales goes to Trump.
Well, what I read, and it could be wrong because I just read it, was that he has been paid a licensing fee by a company that collects and is sending out the Bibles and is advertising for the Bibles. And that company is located, I think, on his compound in
Can you get
Florida.
this, Peter? Can you bring a camera in and like just
Can you
the
zoom
camera
in on
that's on
that?
me? Oh no! Just the camera the best camera
So
you've got. That's just
leave it to Will to
the one.
be
There
able
you go.
to.
I
There you go. That's all we
know.
need.
I know.
Fancy
I know.
stuff,
He's
you
There we go.
great.
So there you go.
Oh, there you go.
It's the
Really,
God USA.
I don't want to comment on it since I don't know much about it.
Right.
But I would be.
That doesn't prevent us from commenting on anything
No.
at all.
Well, I know,
like,
but where I'm at
no.
is I would be on the side of caution with this as far as
I'll just say, yeah.
it's just not a good.
I'm flipping through the
Thing to-
website here.
to
I got to
follow.
say, I'm not a fan of what's going on here.
Is it a lot of Donald?
God bless the USA Bible, inspired by Lee Greenwood, endorsed by Donald Trump, and then there's
Oh, the lyrics of God Bless the USA,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
are included as well. I forgot about that.
And then there's a lot of other folks endorsing the Bible on here. I think this is actually what this is. If I'm looking at it, this is a Lee Greenwood project actually.
Okay.
And then there's just a lot of people endorsing it. Trump happens to be one of them and the most prominently featured one on this website. So I think that's what we're seeing.
Well, Lee Greenwood, as I understand, is really a supporter of those veterans. So I'm wondering if part of his point of this is to help raise funds for the veterans. I don't know. Again, it's probably better that I not get into that conversation since I don't know much
Well,
about
Rodney,
it,
if we
but-
only talked about things we knew anything about, we wouldn't have much of a show.
Well,
It'd be like
that is
7
true.
minutes,
Well,
maybe. It'd basically be, hey, Carol, how was your week? That I know about.
that's true.
Expert on
done.
that.
So anyway, I'm not a fan of that. But
Well, and here's something. So when you say you're not a fan of that, like to me, that lends credibility to your opinion. So if you said, "Oh yeah, I think that's great," I mean, I was excited. In fact, I looked up some other things and. Which I did, by the way, and I only looked up one thing, but I found it hysterical. There's a teddy bear that you can buy with like an AK-47.
now that
or
I
something.
like. That I like. I think that's awesome.
Get your Trump teddy bear with an AK.
I think
I'm not a fan of the Trump
47.
teddy bear for sure.
But I like the teddy bear with the rifle. That's right up my alley. In fact, they used to make, and I think they got sued. Don't make it anymore. It was called a JR-15.
Okay.
It's like an AR-15, but it was a JR-15. Looked just like an AR-15, but it shot 22. A little 22, and it was made for
Okay.
little kids. Made for kids.
Ooh.
Perfect.
I don't like that.
No, see, you teach them. You teach them young, good gun safety. I think it's brilliant. I would
Oh,
get
my
them for
gosh.
my grandnieces. Absolutely, they're like 4. And it's like.
So anyway, so I appreciate
age.
there was something that you didn't like.
Yeah,
that
well,
kind of
I mean-
rubbed you the wrong way, or you're like, yeah,
Sure,
I can't
it
really
rubs
get
me.
behind
There's
this.
there's
So
tons
I
of
like
stuff
that.
Trump does
Okay.
that rubs me the wrong way. Absolutely.
All right.
But yeah, I'm still going to vote for him.
So, we kind of talked. I mean, I know we want to get to the Antifa thing,
We will.
and we can whatever. You can shut me down at any point in time. But one thing,
I don't think that's possible.
We don't do that here, Karen. We don't do that. Here.
Rodney's trying to shut me down to the state sale auction when he's in charge, and I'm like the heckler in the back,
Do it.
and oh yeah. But I also spend money, so
There you
that's
go.
my thing. So and
You're good
Rodney's
for it.
he's very kind to me. There's one thing that we commented on, and this may be a good topic for a later conversation. I am just like crazily disappointed in both the Democrats and the Republicans. I think the fact that they have chosen Biden and Trump is ridiculous. I think it's a huge disservice to the American people. I
agree.
I am just like, so I'm kind of just done. So I'm just like, you know what? I wish we could just dismantle the Republicans and the Democrats.
There you go.
And be like, okay, so we're going to have two new parties.
Let's go back to the Whigs.
They're going to be the Green Party and the Libertarian.
Oh, yeah, that's really where everybody lines up.
It really is.
How about just the capitalists and the commies?
I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, there you go. Where would you fall? I'm not sure where you would land.
Ooh.
You're not a commie.
I really kind of am.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind
Commies are the worst.
Oh my God. a communist, a commune. Just a commune where
listen.
people all get along.
Now listen, a commune and communism are not the same thing.
Well,
a commune is voluntary, and if you want to go to a commune, God bless you. You go do that.
Well, yeah.
Because early Christians basically did that.
Yes.
But it was voluntary. The problem with communism, it's the absolute antithesis of voluntary.
Well, that is true.
It's not voluntary. That's the problem with that. But I think that's an interesting topic, and we probably should delve into it at some point.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to just give you my quick take on that.
Sure.
I think that both parties have picked the people they've picked not because out of fear from the other candidate. So I think that Republicans are going, Trump's the one that can beat Biden, and I think the Democrats are going, Biden's the one we think can beat Trump. But realistically, I don't think either one of those is true. To me, if you go roll the dice, roll the clock all the way back to 2016, the person, if the Democrats had done one thing different, Trump would have never got elected.
Right.
Because Bernie Sanders would have won that election. I'm confident that it was Bernie. If it was Bernie versus Donald, Bernie would have won that election.
Oh,
I may be wrong, and we'll never know.
Right.
But I feel like that's true. I don't think the Democrats in any way anticipated or were aware of the baggage that Hillary Clinton is dragging around.
Right. Very true. Yeah. Yeah. And, we have 27 Republican governors and 23 Democratic governors. And so and governors have become presidents, have run directly from being a governor and becoming president. So I just think that there's a wealth of experience and a wealth of energy and knowledge and ability to tap into. And I'm really disappointed that they didn't. So that's my soapbox. I'm stepping off my soapbox for today. As far as that goes, I'll get on another soapbox here, I'm sure, soon.
I'm sure. That's what we do here, right?
It's our job.
So you were challenging me about my thoughts on the unfairness. Is this not true? On January 6th and the Summer of Love, and so we've now here we are.
So
because you brought last week, you brought me some
stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys probably don't remember as much about the show as I do because I'm like here and I kind of live and breathe it for a little bit each week, and so Will just makes these comments, and this is how he says things. Just with this air of confidence, and nobody could question me, and this is factual, and so he makes this comment.
You know what that is? That's being a good lawyer.
Say it with confidence.
Say it with confidence.
And so, Will, you made this comment, and it was something along the lines of, it's well documented that Antifa protesters have not been prosecuted as diligently as
vigorously, and I don't know that I said well documented, but I said I said documented.
I think you said well documented. I'm pretty sure.
Let's roll the tape back. We'll roll the tape. I don't know what I said.
You're like, listen, I don't have time.
I don't know what I said.
I think you said well documented because I was like, okay. So anyway, so that's what started this conversation because I was like, really?
And my point was, however I said it, was that basically, considering the severity, on balance, the severity of the events, the number of people involved, all those things, that the people that were considered January 6th defendants, whatever they are, that whole thing, Trump included, have been prosecuted and persecuted much more strenuously and vigorously than the folks involved in the riots, the BLM riots, during all of the summer of 2020 that all started after the George Floyd incident. And, you can look at that from a lot of different perspectives. I mean, for one person died on January 6th.
Right.
One, Ashley Babbitt.
Well, five people died, and then four police officers committed suicide after the riots in the subsequent months. But pursuant to the riots itself.
Only one person died that day on the grounds.
Correct.
the others were speculated that they might have something to do with it.
But maybe not. Know. I mean, overdose and heart attack. And,
you don't know.
Yeah.
So one person died, and she was one of the tourists in the building, and she was shot at random by a Capitol police officer. But here's my point. My point on this one is, who killed, and I say that very loosely because I don't believe it's true, George Floyd. We know? Okay, maybe you don't remember the name. Derek Chauvin. He was a police officer, and we all know his name. Who was the officer that shot Ashley Babbitt?
Oh.
They've never even released his name, let alone prosecuted him. So there's a shining example of the difference in prosecution. You've got one, a gunshot, boom, right at somebody and kills them from one officer, never prosecuted, don't even know who they are. And you've got, at best, a reckless death, right, in George Floyd.
It was a purposeful. That was a murder.
Oh, well, we're going to have to go back.
That was a murder.
We'll have to talk about that because there's medical testimony that says that he would have died anyway. It had nothing to do with the knee on his neck. There's medical testimony to that, and I'll find it for you. So either way, even if you've got murder versus murder, why is one we don't even tell you who it was, and the other we've splashed the guy's name all over the media? That's not fair.
Well, but is that a sincere? So, Rodney, do you have an opinion about why?
No, I do not at this moment.
Okay,
and we can talk about media bias. We can talk about.
Hold on, no, I'll answer your question. So the reason, in my opinion, the reason was because there was a video of his death.
Yeah, there was a video of Ashley Babbitt getting shot too. And
so people saw that and people felt that, and it was on the heels, of other deaths and other transgressions and other inappropriate.
So I think that actually makes my point, because there's video of Ashley Babbitt getting shot too, but that was
by whom?
There was cell phone footage from the stairwell hallway where she was.
And was that the video footage or cell phone footage?
Cell phone footage.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is the same thing they had with Derek
yeah. Yes.
It's the exact same thing.
So why hasn't that person released it? Why isn't
it was released. It is out there. You can find it, but you have to look for it.
Okay.
Because the media suppresses it.
I don't think the media has the influence that you think that they have. I mean, with all the social platforms, and things take hold.
But the social platforms are also dominated by leftists. Mark Zuckerberg, all of that was completely dominated by people that are intentionally suppressing conservative viewpoints.
All right, okay, so this is interesting. So I Googled top 3 Republican governors. And so they had like top 3, and then they had 27 governors, and they had all their names. And then I Googled top 3 Democratic governors, and it just had it didn't have any specific names, and it was very much, hey, the Republican, it was like the Republicans did it themselves, because it's well organized, and
that's a Google result.
Your Google search, yeah. Yeah,
I can't tell you.
Yeah,
but that's not. I still don't think that's.
But when you do it for the Democrats, it was like, hey, where's our specific information? Like it was for the Republicans. I was just, when I Googled the same thing.
But what was the website it actually brought up? Because that may not be within Google's control. That may just be what the algorithm shows. Did it bring up like Wikipedia? What did it actually produce? No. What was the result?
I can't remember. I was just surprised that
Google doesn't really produce just pages of information. It's an index for other websites.
Right. It was weird that like you Google one, you Google the same thing.
See, that doesn't seem weird to me that the Democrats are less organized than the Republicans.
That's just a fact.
That makes perfect sense to me.
That is a total fact.
Unless we're, canvassing for votes and vote harvesting. We're pretty organized at that. But we know that's true. Because Democrats will tell you that. That's where you go around that's where you have mail-in voting, and so you send your people out to harvest the mail-in vote ballots and fill them out for people and have them sent in. Are you unaware of that being done in 2020?
Yeah,
to a large extent, and being apparently successful depending on how you count the votes?
Yeah, I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, no. Look it up. Ballot harvesting.
Okay.
Yeah, it's out there. But
we are. Oh, once again.
Getting a call.
Once again.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. What's your question?
It is
She's
a
getting
robocall.
interrupted by someone watching her today.
No, that's not. So, Antifa, I'm sorry, we have strayed. I apologize.
Antifa, BLM. Yeah, either
Yeah.
one. Yeah. $2 billion worth of damage to federal buildings in 2020. And public property, private businesses, and all. $2 billion.
Lots of people have been prosecuted. 374 people were prosecuted.
Versus
in
how many
2020?
J6?
over 1,200.
Yeah. You've got more people prosecuted for January 6th on one incident than you have with the multiple thousands of people involved with all of that rioting and all of that damage. I think so. There you've got this overzealous prosecution of people from one day, one event with, depending on your report, $50,000 to $2 million worth of damage. And then you've got a summer with $2 billion worth of damage, massive fires, multiple people murdered. And you've got a fraction of the people prosecuted for that?
And I don't know. I mean, that the 374, that was Antifa related. That wasn't
That
the
didn't even- that didn't even
wasn't
include BLM.
Yeah, that wasn't the BLM.
Yes.
So there could be a lot of other people that were prosecuted. And so that was just the Antifa number because I kind of thought that was where our focus was. So that's kind of what I looked at.
Yeah, it kind of depends
But-
on. It's all kind of runs
murky.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the lesson would be perhaps you shouldn't poke the bear that controls the entire country. I mean, you can expect it, to rain down on you when you do that.
That's a really scary thing to say. That's a very fascist type thing to say is, hey, we're the Democrats. We're in control. We're going to run this thing. So
the Republican.
Because what did Biden say?
Wait,
if you're our political enemies, you're a threat to democracy. Isn't that what he got in his big speech and said?
So
called everybody a threat. He called MAGA Republicans a threat to democracy. And that's half the country. Or a significant percentage. That's fascist language.
I don't think it's fascist to say. So that is real. That is just very real. To me that is like when.
So tell me what about supporting Donald Trump is a threat to democracy.
I didn't say supporting him was a threat to democracy.
Okay, I thought you were agreeing with Biden's statement.
No.
Okay, sorry.
No.
My misunderstanding.
No, sorry. No big deal. Ronnie, take it at any point in time. Just pick
jump
something
in.
you want to
just
say.
jump in.
It doesn't even have to be about our topic.
I
it can
was
be about
getting
something
ready
else.
to jump in
Okay,
because Will invited me to sit in here today. I've sat behind the scenes before and have really enjoyed. Not that I'm not enjoying this, and there's probably some who are watching, not very many, maybe, I don't know. But if they watch on the morning show, on
2 or 3 at least, the waffle.
If they watch me on a Monday morning, they're like, Rodney really talks a lot there, and he's not saying very much. But I kind of wanted to just sit here and be that go-between, to be really honest. But I will be this morning as I was here. I asked Will what the topic was going to be, and he said about the insurrection. And then I said
there was
something
no insurrection, Rodney. There was no insurrection.
Listen,
no insurrection.
Listen. Do not freedom of speech. He can label it whatever he wants.
So see, this is why I'm really leery about whether I get here,
and I can challenge him on it.
Hey,
that's
you
freedom.
know what? You just speak your mind, Rodney.
Well,
and I'll argue about it.
That's okay.
Freedom of speech. We go both ways.
I got you.
So anyway, the January 6th incident. How about if I put it like that?
There you go.
Okay. Sure. So, but anyway, in that conversation, Will said, "Hey, why don't you do a little research on Summer of Love?"
Okay.
Okay. And I'm like, okay.
I think the Beach Boys when you say Summer of Love.
Right.
So,
well, so I'll be honest. I mean, I remember what was going on in 2020.
Don't we all?
It was tough.
Okay.
It was
and
tough.
so
for sure.
It hit home about what happened in the Minneapolis area, especially for me and my family, because my sister lives in that area.
Oh. Okay.
And so we had a concern there with all the rioting going on. In fact, where the police station that was raided or taken over, and there was some areas there that was burned. was just about 3 blocks from the church where my sister attends. So there was some personal connection to that. But my point is this. Will threw this point out, and again, I wasn't real quick on knowing what the term was, but then I figured it out. And
I get that a lot with Will. I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about, Will.
So I just did this thing of Summer of Love, and when I typed in, interestingly enough, when I type in Summer of Love,
I'd be careful to do that Google search myself. I'd be like, oh, it's gonna pop up.
Here's what happened. It types up Summer of Love 1967.
What did I say?
Okay.
What did I say?
And then you had your choice between that or 2020.
Oh, I'd take 1967.
Well, I know. Well, but 1967, there was some craziness going on there. But here was my thing. As I read both sides or both years, but definitely 2020, I remember, I didn't have to Google that to remember what all happened during that summer. Okay? And I just find it, and this is where I was about to interject, and the two of you were really going at it there for a minute. So I thought, I'm just going to wait for them to come up for an air.
Feel free to be the dad and be like, hey, kids.
And so I might have to do that and say, kids, settle down for a minute. Let me talk to you about something.
The adult's going to talk now.
Because here's where I'm at. Who in the world could come up with a term, Summer of Love?
Yeah, for that.
Yeah.
Right.
That time period, because there's nothing that happened in that time frame that illustrates love. And I say that from, it doesn't matter if it's a Republican, Democrat,
Christian,
blue, red,
atheist.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The definition that I go with in love from the scriptures was not being played out by anybody, whether they lived in Seattle or Washington, D.C., or New York, or Chicago, Rogersville, wherever. It was not anything close to Summer of Love.
And I think I know where that term came from, but I can't for sure.
But my whole point is, if we would just really practice, but in our human nature, we're going to do our own little thing. But if we really practiced love, love is patient, love is kind. Wow, there was none of that being practiced during that time. There's the phrase in 1 Corinthians 13, love does not keep record of wrongs. And yet, we were a society there that was keeping record of every single wrong that was happening, which is just the opposite of what God does towards us. And so you wanted me to interject. And so there's where I'm coming from. That's great, this is I really think this is a healthy, I think this is a healthy dialogue and show that goes on each week. I really like this. In fact, I was at Apple Market yesterday morning, and the young man that was pricing my merchandise, I was talking to him about this show.
Really?
And he said, tell me more about it. And I said, it's interesting because it's designed to where opposite sides can actually sit down and have a civil conversation. And he commented, and I didn't dive into how old he was, but I could tell he was a lot younger than I was.
Sure.
But his comment back was, I think if we could just have more of that, it would sure help our nation out a lot.
Maybe we could save the planet.
Okay. And so then, maybe we could save the planet. So then we have what really love is all about, is just being able to have this friendly dialogue. But anyway, I'm just interjecting because it was just weird that we would title something Summer of Love when there was not anything at all
loving
connected. And if I may, just let me say, take all of what we saw on the TV screen in the media in these big cities, and you can just move that on all the way down to our own private homes. Families were splitting up. Neighbors were at odds with each other. People that we used to hang out with, we didn't want to have anything to do with them anymore, all because of these things that were happening. And we weren't a place of love anymore. And I'm not saying we should all walk around and happy-go-lucky and everything's fine, because it's not.
Right.
Right. But it never has been.
No. But
And
if
it
we
never
would
will be.
just be,
Correct.
again, we came from a generation, all three of us, at least grew up in a time where we learned this in school. Do to others as you would have them do to you.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the biggest things we're having happen is our kids aren't being taught those principles, and no one's backing that up. And so then these kids do whatever they want, however they want.
And I don't know where
That's
I
a good topic for another show.
is.
There we
too.
go.
That's
Okay.
a great
And
parenting.
parents are doing whatever they're doing. They're doing it right. They're doing it wrong. I don't know.
Sure. Right.
What's the defeater here is what they're seeing modeled. I think in movies and TV and music and TikTok is a narcissistic, selfish, me first greed that is really difficult for a parent to overcome. Yep. When they see things like that. The other thing I think is interesting is when people that believe themselves to be liberal do very, very conservative things, and potentially vice versa. And so one of the really interesting things I thought that happened during the Summer of Love, I believe it was in Seattle, they set up the CHAZ, the Chapel Hill, I think it was, Autonomous Zone. So there's a group of protesters, rioters, whatever, took over several city blocks, put up barricades, and prevented the police from coming in. And they said, this is our autonomous zone. And I thought, that's a real conservative principle. And consequently, I named on my map where we track each other, Life 360, my house is called the Worsham Autonomous Zone. And so that's where we live on the compound at the Worsham Autonomous Zone. And I'm just thinking, that's really interesting because that, I think, you say, if you just in a vacuum said to a wide swath of libertarian conservative people, what would you think about setting up a little area where you were self-governed and you had no outside police, no outside government, you just handled your own thing? I think most conservative libertarians go, yes, please, I'll take that.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
One.
And yet it was the liberal leftist protesters that actually did that. Now, now, of course, that was also rife with rape, murder. I mean, it was a total disaster.
Well, yeah. That was the big defund the police movement.
Yeah,
that's kind of where that came from, just to kind of put it in context.
We've all gotten over that, right? I mean, everybody pretty well has said that was a bad idea. Nobody ever. I didn't think that was a good idea to begin with. I know you didn't.
That
but,
was crazy.
We had city councils that were actually doing it, and now they've all retracted that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think an incredible guest would be the police chief, but also a couple different police officers that work kind of on the street, with the homeless, and they have a crisis intervention team. So I think there's a lot of things about the police that are kind of a softer approach. And it's just one of those things that's like, if you don't treat the problem, and if you just put them in jail, then it's just going to be a revolving door and more crime is going to be committed. So kind of you can be part of the solution or part of the problem.
Well, and we do need to have a show where we talk about bail reform because...
Oh, that's a great idea.
Bail reform, I think it's typically considered to be a left-leaning topic.
Yeah.
But I think an honest conservative looks at it and goes, no, we need to reform the bail system. I know as a criminal defense attorney for 20 years, I can look at it and go, bails consistently, rarely, almost never were set, in my mind, according to the statutory and constitutional authority. True. Because you have two considerations when you're a judge. If you're going to set bail, are they a threat to the community, and or are they a flight risk? And yet, you've got people that are really neither, but because of the heinousness of what they're accused of, accused yet presumed not guilty,
correct,
have an extremely high bond. Now that doesn't compute, right? That is, but yet there's essentially, from a legal perspective, we're not going to go all law like we did last week, I promise. There's really no appeal process for that. I mean, how do you take an interlocutory appeal from a bond hearing?
Right.
I guess you could, but
right, and you can ask for as many bond hearings as you want, and they have to give you bond hearings now.
Yeah, but it's the same judge. It's the same judge. It's the same judge. You get maybe
facts,
one change. And if you consistently have a bench in any circuit that is of the same mindset, which is, oh my gosh, and I get it. I mean, as a sitting judge, I don't have to set bonds, thankfully, as a municipal judge.
Yeah.
But I get it. I let this guy out. He does X to that person. My name is right under his in the news story because I'm the judge that let him out on bail, and then he, drove drunk again and killed somebody.
So, Will, let me ask you this, because we talked about this about 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was behind the scenes after a show, and even Carol said, you know what, that might be a topic, and all I'm doing is just tagging on to it. Doesn't mean we have to talk about it today. But I posed this question from Scripture, this passage from Ecclesiastes. It says this: when the sentence for a crime is not quickly carried out, the hearts of the people are filled with schemes to do wrong.
Yeah.
Is that connected somewhat to
That's a great question.
bail reform?
I'm not, right off the top of my head, I'm not sure that I see the connection to bail reform.
Okay.
I think that's Mary Carol does, though.
Well, so theoretically, and I think it's true, actually. If you are in jail, your case goes to the top as far as like jury trial settings and things like that. So if they want to get people out of the jail, so you're going to have a quicker trial if you are in jail, and so they are. So jail reform and bond, they're
Missouri,
tied to that.
At least you can demand. You have a guaranteed constitutional right to speedy trial.
Right.
What that means is somewhat up to interpretation. But if you're in custody, you can file a demand for speedy trial, and as long as you don't make a procedural error and blow it, you'll get your trial in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. If you file a bill of detainer.
Yeah, I mean,
is that still the way that works?
It's kind of squishy.
Yeah.
Because if they can't fit it in, but most jurisdictions.
So would you say that passage there, it's a fact because we see that things that aren't punished, then people might repeat them? Would that be where we're?
Yeah, I think that's where I would see it in. It's like because, and I think it's specifically like you look at all the smash and grab gang robberies happening on the coasts. We've got gangs of people that are going in because the policy now is non-intervention if there's a robbery.
Right.
Okay, we have now announced to everyone, you can go steal from that store and no one is going to do anything. No one is going to try to stop you.
Right.
So we see
nobody's going to have a weapon there.
Right.
Not only that is true from God's word, but what we're seeing is now we're actually seeing that played out more and more.
Yep.
In that way. That's one example.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think it 100% is for sure. One other thing, and we're going to run out of time a little bit, but I wanted to mention about the whole J6 thing deals specifically with Trump because you have you've got Liz Cheney saying, no wonder we don't want to see these transcripts and all that stuff, and yet we've got specific evidence. And I'm looking at an MSNBC MSN article, Microsoft MSN.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where specifically the committee, J6 committee, withheld testimony from a Secret Service official that said former President Trump had pushed for 10,000 National Guards to be deployed. So we have a Secret Service person said, no, Trump asked for 10,000 troops to be deployed to stop essentially what this J6 was. And then you've got the committee, specifically Liz Cheney, preventing that testimony from being part of the record. So there's an example, MSN, you can Google it, you can find the article on there, I can send you the link if you want to see it. So that would be another example where I'm saying, listen, we're not doing things fairly. We're not treating everyone fairly in this process. And Liz Cheney is a quote-unquote Republican.
Right, quote-unquote, that's funny.
Well, nobody thinks she's a Republican.
But again...
She's not a conservative.
Well, right. But we don't... But when we say things like that, so I need more context than that. So did she do it alone? Did the committee do it? Was his testimony credible? Was it supported by, so those kinds of things.
Well, let's just go back. Just apply basic criminal defense principles. It is the prosecutor's obligation to disclose all exculpatory evidence.
But it doesn't necessarily come into the hearing.
No, but they have to disclose it. This wasn't even disclosed. We have hundreds of hours of video from J6 that was in the possession of that committee, and they never released it to anybody else. They never released it to the defendants that were being prosecuted by the FBI. It never came out to any of that. Now, I don't know if maybe that wasn't in the prosecutor's hands, but it was in the government's hands, and you've got government officials that knew about this video and never allowed it to come out and never allowed it to be shown. And that's just not okay.
But then, and that's also... that's the defense attorney's responsibility to be zealous and to request that, and then and there are remedies for those actions.
And I think we see those appeals coming.
Yeah,
we'll see all that.
Right, and it'll all come out in the wash.
Okay.
40 years from now.
Well, we'll have to figure out what we're going to talk about next week. But 2 weeks from now,
I'm so excited.
We're going to have Stephen Hayes.
Yeah,
I'm so excited. The
excited.
president of Americans for Fair Taxation, the organization that is behind HR 25, the Fair Tax Bill. And Carol's going to get to ask him all of her questions. I'm going to get to ask him questions. We're so excited. And you, our dear viewers, can ask him your questions as well. Just put them right on the screen.
Live on the air.
Live on the air. Just put them right on the screen and we'll ask him.
So a couple people have said, and I think this is really sweet when people that know me, like, and know me well, and have known me for like years and decades, and they say things like, I said, hey, we just did the show, Carolyn will say the plan, blah, blah. And they say, post a link. You should send a link. I'm like, it's so sweet that you think I would have any idea
how to do that
at all, what to do it. In fact, Captain Dave, Dave Hart, said, oh my God, like, in a gazillion years, I never would have guessed that Carol Hutchison, techno, no skills whatsoever, is doing a podcast.
We call that a Luddite. You want to use that term? Luddite. Luddite. You can research it. It's a real term.
I think I do know what that means.
Yes, a Luddite. Don't be a Luddite.
So if you think about it, if you can either teach me how to post the link, or my preference, which would just be to go to my page and post the link.
Okay.
Then my friends will love and adore you, and they might watch.
We'll do that right after the show. Before we go, can I plug my book?
Yes.
My book, The Lawyer Without a Suit, is out in hardback and paperback
Good.
format.
Now it's in hardback. I will buy it.
On
on
Amazon. It was the #1 new release in hardback in law technology recently. So I've got the screenshot of that. But for all of our viewers, if you want a hardback or paperback copy, you don't have to buy it on Amazon. If you'll send me or reach out to me a direct message, I can get them at author prices. So rather than being like $15 for the paperback and $20 for the hardback or whatever it is on Amazon, I can get them for $5 in paperback and $10 for the hardback. So
not that they're not worth full price. Because
well, thanks, Carol.
I was told. Well, no, really. I was. I would if I didn't mean it, I would just be silent.
Yes.
And I would be like, "Hey, have a great week, everybody." So no, I read it in one day, which is unusual.
Wow.
I don't do that very often. Well, I wanted to do a review, and I wanted to be honest and stuff, and so. But also, it was interesting, and a lot of your thoughts are really great just for any business, kind of across the board, if you think about using technology and different things. So I really enjoyed it, and I would highly endorse it. And I haven't been paid to do that. In fact, I pay to be a sponsor of the show.
Sponsors of the show.
So I know, Hippie Chick Greenhouses. So anyway, and Rodney, oh my God, so much fun to have you here today.
Yep.
Thank you for coming in front of the camera.
It's way different on this side of the camera than it is for that. And I enjoy it each Monday morning, and I enjoy the visit, and I might show up again down the line.
We would love that. Rodney. And please tune in to Rodney's Plugged In on Monday mornings. And if people think it's maybe too spiritual or too churchy or too Christian-y,
don't you think?
I love it.
Yeah.
I watch it.
Try to make it simple on a Monday morning.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And the Tuesday Morning Waffle, which is just highly entertaining, our own little Tuesday morning talk show from Rogersville, Missouri.
I don't know what to call it. It's not The View.
No, it's
clearly
not the View.
No, it's not The View.
Clearly not The View. No.
I don't know what it's kind of like Fox and Friends, maybe.
Yeah.
You've probably never seen Fox and Friends.
I have not.
Shocked to find out that Carol has never seen Fox and Friends.
That just is a shocker. Boy, allow my jaw to drop right now.
You guys are sitting down. Good.
What a place to land the plane today for today's show. Thanks for being with us, Rodney. Thanks, Carol, as always. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back next week.
Good week, everybody. Go out and do something fun.